Jackal fans, and welcome into the Jackals Coaches Show. I'm Jared Abbott, alongside head coach Jamie Russell. Jamie, thanks for coming on as always.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, 2 games this weekend instead of the 4 last week when we discussed. We had plenty of hockey discussed with the last road trip. This weekend, your team returns home for 1 game on Friday against the Brampton Beast, before then traveling to Wheeling on Saturday. But starting with Friday's game, playing a team in Brampton that you've seen twice before. You had some players called up, some players injured from the previous games and the previous road trip, that the wear and tear of the season obviously catching up this past weekend. But with the lineup you had out there, you still won 4-1. What did you like from your team in Friday's game against Brampton with having the players out and the players banged up? So a different group on the ice for you.
Yeah, it was certainly a different lineup. We had guys that were elevated up the depth chart. When you have players that are injured, when you have players that are called up, it requires players to expand their role, take on a different role. Guys that maybe haven't had a ton of power play time or penalty kill time, get their roles expanded, and I thought our guys did a great job of stepping up, really excelling with more ice time, more responsibility. Players that come to mind, Ryan Rashid really stepped up his play. He's hot right now in terms of his offensive production. He's playing with a lot of confidence, yet he's maintaining his defensive responsibilities as well. So whenever you have players that are moved into different positions and the roles expand, you need them to respond, and I thought our guys really did on Friday night.
Yeah, you mentioned Ryan Rashid, obviously a player right now that is hot, and he has scored in the last 2 games. There's 5 points in the last weekend for your team, for them coming against Brampton in that 4-1 win. So he had a hand in every one of those goals. He had 4 points in 6 games coming out of Niagara at the end of last year. One of the very few players that came out of the college ranks or the junior ranks and played with the Jackals at the end of the season. Obviously a new team, new teammates for him, new head coach and yourself. And this year, it was an adjustment period for him, finding that success again, obviously coming in and putting up those points right off the bat. He probably felt comfortable at the end of last year, and then moving into a full season, certainly an adjustment. What have you seen from him throughout the entire year thus far, leading up to now?
Well, I think early in the year he was a little bit snake bit. He's a guy that, if I had to guess, he probably leads the league in crossbars and goalposts hit. He's had to kind of fight through that a little bit. That gets frustrating, where you're getting chances, you're making good plays, you're obviously taking good shots, but for whatever reason it hits the post and goes out instead of hitting the post and going in. So he's had to manage that a little bit from a frustration standpoint, but I think his game overall is grown, where he's getting more responsibility. As a coach, I have more confidence about putting him out against certain lines in certain situations. So I think his progress, his development is definitely on an upward trend.
Also contributing on Friday, or in Friday's game, Mike Bergen getting his first ECHL goal. Nice play going backdoor, and he had an assist in that game as well. Also contributed with an assist on Ryan Rashid's goal in Saturday's game against Wheeling. So are you seeing Mike Bergen also getting more comfortable? He's a player that spent his first 2 pro years overseas, playing in Sweden, 2nd division, obviously a different ice surface there, different style of hockey. He comes back to North America. You acquire him from Orlando early in the season. So are you seeing him kind of going over the same type of a path that Ryan had gone on, where he's getting more comfortable and you're getting more comfortable putting him in different positions?
Yeah, I think there's some similarities in that his game is also trending upward. He's played very, very well for us. He's moved up in terms of the depth chart. He's moved up in terms of being placed on the power play, getting that opportunity, but a little bit of a different situation where he's a 3rd-year professional. His first 2 years were overseas, and as you mentioned, making the transition from the big ice surface in Europe to the smaller North American ice surface, obviously a more physical game. But he's a defenseman that he skates very well. He's got good size. He plays with grit. He's got a good hockey sense in terms of, as a defenseman, making that good first pass. He's been very dependable on the penalty kill. And I think he's grown more and more comfortable with our team, with our systems, with the style of play that we want to play, and really has been a big part of our success as he's really developed and grown into a top 4 pro defenseman.
Well, we took 5 out of 8 points, and for us right now, I mean, we got some injuries and everything, so going over 500 is big for us, and coming back, and we got 2 big games this weekend, so we're focused and excited for this weekend. That's a tough question. Obviously, you know, it's coming down into the grinding part of the season. Since January, February, March is 3 big months for us. We got a lot of games coming up, so I think the biggest thing is just to keep it simple and stick to our game. I think we've been successful up to this point, so if we can do that, I think we're going to have a successful season.
So back up in the American Hockey League now. And Matt is here and for his second term actually now up there, just went up and is on the road trip with Rochester. I know you and I touched briefly on this in the pregame show on Saturday, but in your discussions with Matt, obviously as a team captain, he's the closest thing to an assistant coach as a player that you have right now on your team. Obviously Nick Tuzzolino's up there as well, and Andrew Conboy, but the relationship you and Matt have, the conversation that you had when he went up there and earned that call up, what was that conversation like?
Yeah, I was really happy for Matt, and he's been the ultimate team player. He's been the personification of leadership and character and doing the right things on the ice, off the ice, his work ethic, how he handles the guys, not just at the rink and on the road, but at their housing where they live. You know, so to see him rewarded with an opportunity to go up to the American League, he's done everything for us. He leads our team in points. He leads our team in goals. He's our best plus-minus player. He plays on the first power play. He's terrific on face-offs. He'll fight. He's physical. So to see him get the opportunity for me as a coach was really gratifying. And then the feedback that I've got from Chad Cassidy, the head coach up in Rochester, Mark Jakubowski, the assistant general manager for the Sabres, is Matt went up and did a terrific job. He played extremely well. They felt comfortable with him. They actually, towards the end of the game, they had him matched up against the other team's top line. So it was great that he went up and he had a good showing. He did well. Earned himself another opportunity to get called up, and ironically enough, he's going to be playing against Texas, which is Dallas's farm team, which is the team that originally drafted him. So I'm sure there's a little bit of extra motivation on Matt's part that he wants to prove Dallas made a mistake in not re-signing him. He went through an awful lot off the ice in terms of injuries and rehab, and really been through the ringer with that, and showed his character and his perseverance in coming out the other side. And he's already set career highs this year. We're early January. He's got career highs in goals right now, and he's on track to have career high in points at the ECHL level. I think he's a guy that can play in the American League. So for him to get that opportunity is a real feather in our cap that our players are developing, but a real testament to his character and perseverance.
You know, it's funny, I was thinking earlier today about his maturity level and the way that he just conducts himself on and off the ice. You see him and like a Nick Tuzzolino, the two of them, the way that they behave on the road trips, off the ice. Yet Matt had just turned 25 a little over a month ago, so he's still in the prime of his career. And I know when you look at the level, some players 18 to 21 are moving up the ranks now. It's amazing to see. But for someone who's still just turned 25, there's a lot of hockey left for him. And as you say, he certainly deserves a shot in the American Hockey League and how he can contribute in all facets of the game. And you'd mentioned one in particular, the face-offs. With your team this year, and also this kind of goes back to our left-hand, right-hand shot as well, with which hand takes the draw, depending which side of the ice you're on. How important is having a key face-off man, not just in the sense of just getting control of the puck, but late in the game, your go-to person, whether it's a defensive zone draw, you're up one late in a contest. How important is it to have that key face-off guy?
We've been good on face-offs this year, and it's funny you bring that up and you mention that, because I felt one of the things that we struggled with on the road at Wheeling that resulted in us losing the game was our lack of ability to win face-offs. And as I said, we've been good in that area. And it's not just the centerman's responsibility. It's the 5 guys on the ice. They have to be on the same page. In the defensive zone, you don't necessarily have to win the face-off outright clean. you just can't lose it clean. And it's the other guys coming in from the hash marks that are helping out. If you're tying up for 50-50 pucks, you've got to win those battles. And our third period against Wheeling, it was a 2-2 hockey game, and I thought, one of the areas that we focused on this week in practice was face-offs. And the third period, we didn't gain possession of the puck off the draw. It led to a lot of O-zone play for Wheeling, which resulted in us taking some penalties in the third period because we were in our defensive zone so much. Then when we did get our hands on it and get possession of it, I didn't think we made great plays. We iced the puck on a few occasions, which led to more D-zone time. Then it's compounded when you lose the face-off. So face-offs are huge in today's era, in today's game. It automatically, a one face-off leads to possession. When you have the puck, you have the ability to create offense. When you don't, now you're forced to play defense. If you're playing defense over and over, it's going to lead to more power play opportunities for the other team, which is going to put you on your heels.
Yeah, my dad played, and growing up in Detroit, it's kind of a hockey hotbed, so there's a lot of hockey everywhere, the Red Wings and college hockey, so he would always take me to games, and I'd go watch the Wings practice. So ever since I was a young guy, it was going downtown or going up to Ann Arbor or Michigan State and watching those guys play. So it was kind of easy for me, so getting kind of a smooth transition right into the game. Oh, Stevie Yzerman, for sure. I mean, all the cups that he won, and he's a Detroit icon, one of the best hockey players of all time, for sure.
Saturday's contest, we'll touch base now on the Wheeling game here. Your team jumped out early, which is something you've been very strong at when scoring first. Going into that game, you were 14-2-3 when scoring the game's first goal. We had touched base on this previously on the last road trip down in Gwinnett and Greenville. We were talking about the difference when your team scores first when you give up the first goal. Now in Wheeling, you ended up losing that contest with a late third period goal, despite scoring the first goal and having a 2-0 lead early in the second period. What did you see after you had the lead 30 seconds into the second period? Was there a difference that stood out to you with the way that your team played in the second half of the game, or was it more just what Wheeling did to counter that 2-goal deficit? Yeah,
no, I don't think it was anything in terms of our reaction to the game or anything that Wheeling did that was over the top special. They got some good bounces, is the bottom line. They got a power play goal where they took a shot. Our forward is in great position. He blocked it. It went right from the block onto another Wheeling stick. They made a tape-to-tape pass and a one-timer. So they did get a bounce off that. Their second goal, we won the face-off. It came back. It hit our defenseman's skate. It went right to the Wheeling guy. They shot it through traffic, and it found its way in. So they earned some bounces. One of the things we talked about at practice early in the week after that weekend was it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. When you have a 2-0 lead, whether you're on the road, at home, whether you're killing penalties, whether the referee made great decisions, poor decisions, it doesn't matter. You have to be mentally strong. You need to find a way to win. And we weren't able to do that on Wheeling, and we have to learn from that. We did have a lot of adversity. They had 5 power plays. We had 1. We scored a goal that we felt was in that didn't go our way. So, and we've talked about it as a group before, is you have to go out and you have to earn your bounces. You have to earn your puck luck. I thought our work ethic was there. I thought our compete level was high. But there's no excuses. You have to find a way to win.
Riley Wetmore notched an assist on Ryan Rashid's goal. Mike Bergen getting the other assist. In just his second game, the team earned his first point as a Jackal. What have you seen from him in the first 2 games? Obviously, he comes in as he was called up. He started the year with Kalamazoo, was recalled by Springfield, who he's under contract with, and then reassigned to Elmira. But he's moved up to your first unit and your first power play unit as you try and kind of ease him into it, but then with Matt going up to Rochester, with some other injuries and call-ups as well, suddenly Riley's right up on the top unit skating with, you had him starting out with Mitch Holmberg and Andrew Conboy. But what have you seen from him in the first 2 games? And how difficult is it when you're being sent to a different team to be thrown right in the fire and have to log heavy minutes in crucial situations?
Yeah, at this level, there's not a lot of easing into things. That things happen and change so quickly with our situation with call-ups and injuries. And I really like Riley as a player. I think he's a guy that plays with a lot of grit. He plays the right way. By that, he understands puck management, when to get pucks deep, when to get pucks out, when he has time and space to make a play. So I think he's a player that understands the game very, very well. He's a good skater. He's a competitor. I was very familiar with him from the college ranks where I coached against him for a number of years. So we had a pretty good idea of what we were getting with Riley when he joined our organization. And anytime a player comes into a new environment, a new group, a new culture, so to speak, there's always a feeling out process where you have to kind of find out, where do I fit in? You have to get comfortable with the players, with the coaching staff, with the trainer, with the equipment guy. Your gear is new, the environment, your locker room's new, the rink. So there's a lot of things that are thrown at you, but he's stepped in and he's adjusted very, very well and very quickly, and he's done a great job for us here.
For me, it's probably the squid, just because a lot of people don't realize that that symbolizes playoff hockey. When in the old days there only used to be 2 series, you only had to win 8 games, 8 legs, octopus. So for me, that's probably one of the greatest things in hockey. I would say maybe I'm still up early. I'm always up early, but I think the perfect day would be going to a nice steakhouse, maybe something along the lines of a Moretti's. Maybe something like that, and having a nice steak, nice meal, and maybe catching a movie. I don't know.
Steven's now tied for your team lead with 24 points. He leads all defensemen on your team and also all rookie defensemen in points, in goals, power play points as well. Part of the reason why he was picked to represent the Jackals in the ECHL All-Star game, you know him well from the Providence College days, in addition to this season here with the Jackals. But I know we touched earlier on a past coaches show about the progression he's made from the college ranks to the pro rank. And here we are now getting towards the halfway point of the season. Obviously, he's been noticed for his strong play and putting up points offensively. But have you seen a development and a upward trend in his defensive play as well?
Yeah, Steven's a well-rounded defenseman. He's not 6'6". He's not a skyscraper in terms of his height, but he's a solid kid. He's thick. He's hard to play against. He competes hard. More times than not, he's going to win a one-on-one battle in the corner. He's a very explosive skater. He jumps in the offense constantly, and we're very happy about that. We want him getting involved in the offense. He's really taken well to the pro game. It's very different than the college game. It's more controlled. It's more puck possession. You're not as rushed as a defenseman to make decisions, and he's done a really nice job of playing the game with a lot of poise and a lot of composure. I think his game has really taken off when we paired him with Nick Tuzzolino, and Nick has really helped him transition and really helped him along the path of being an elite defenseman. So we're happy with Steven's progression, his development. He's putting points up. The one area I think he can really improve on is hitting the net. He's right up there. I think he leads the league in points for a defenseman for rookies. He's a couple off the lead outright for defensemen. I think he's got, you mentioned 24 points. He could probably have 48 if he hit the net on a little bit more consistent basis. But, I've been on Steven. This is the 4th year, 3.5 years into it, and I think we're chipping away and we're making progress. He's hitting it a little more often, but there's room for improvement there still.
How do you tell him to keep the shots low? I mean, is there a coaching method to it, or is it really just a mental thing with him saying, hit the net?
Hit the net in general, and we've talked about that. The goaltending at this level is very, very good. So if you're shooting from the point and there's no traffic, odds are you're not going to beat a goalie. So you have to hit the net, and you want a shot that is going to create a rebound, that's going to create a chance for our guys, reward the guys that are going to the net, to those tough areas to score by hitting the net. And he's done a better job. His progress, you know, as I said, I think this is we're 3.5 years of being together, and I think he knows. He comes back to the bench and he looks at me, he goes, I know, hit the net, I know. And he has made improvement, but again, he's a guy that has scored. He can pick a corner. It's just understanding, hey, when is the time to try and, you know, pick that corner, and when is the time to shoot to create a rebound. Try and shoot through traffic, through screens, you know, tips, those things all become available when you're shooting the puck from the point, ultimately that's 6 inches off the ice and hits the net. A lot of times that's going to be a seeing eye puck and find its way in.
Moving forward to this weekend, it's a mini 3-game set against the Reading Royals. Friday and Saturday, you're here on home ice at First Arena, both games at 7:05. Then you have a day off, and then Monday you play at 1:05 in Reading, which is tough given the travel that goes into getting down there for a matinee game. But with the All-Star breakup coming, an early game on that Monday. So 3 games in 4 days, big 12-point swing upcoming. How important is this upcoming weekend?
It's big. You know, as we've talked about in the past, anytime you have divisional games, and we play Reading and Wheeling an awful lot on our schedule, but they are a team that we're fighting with in our division. And you look at the standings, and our division is so tight. I think, you know, you look at Fort Wayne and Toledo in the other divisions, you know, the Western teams in the Central League, but, excuse me, the Central Division. But you look at our division and the teams and the caliber of players and the points, the divisional record when we're playing teams outside our division, it is just strong top to bottom, and it's a dogfight. It's going to come right down to the wire, where I think you're going to have 3 extremely good hockey teams that are on the outside looking in when playoffs begin. So it's a crucial weekend for us. Up till now, I think we've had a good week of practice that has to continue, and we have to be ready to go. Our crowds have been great. When we had a game December 26th, we had a sold-out building. I thought our home game against Brampton had a terrific crowd. So we need to use that advantage of having our home fans here supporting us. We did a great job against Brampton of coming out, scoring in the first minute, getting the crowd involved, the excitement in the building, getting things going our way, putting the visiting team back on their heels, and then building momentum from there, and it resulted in a 4-1 win for us. So when we played Reading last time on the 26th, I didn't think we were really sharp. I thought they came out very strong, very hard, very aggressive. So we need to come out. We've got the first 2 games of the 3-game set in our building. We need to come out, set the tone, play to our identity.
For Jamie Russell and myself, Jared Abbott, thank you all for tuning in to the Jackals Coaches Show on WETM. Have a great night.